deal with airplane peanuts.
This is an extra special edition of Kill Tony because all the executives and owners of Netflix are here. So, oh, Netflix gets booed? Oh, all right. Well, there's also executives from YouTube here. Oh, God. Oh, no, we're going to get in big trouble for this. You guys may have just up a multi-million-dollar deal for us. Thank you.
I want to thank everybody at Netflix for letting me be here tonight. And
wait, no, it wasn't. They did not book you. Stop booing Netflix now.
After months of unverified rumors and leaks, the Kill Tony Netflix deal has finally been made official, and there is a lot to break down, including how this will affect their weekly show on YouTube, what the actual product will look like on Netflix, the real reason behind some of the insane backlash online, and what this truly means for Kill Tony and comedy moving forward.
You definitely can't see that on Netflix.
The official statement from Tony Hinchcliffe regarding the deal for 3 episodes of Kill Tony and 1 full-length stand-up special reads, quote, Myself and our entire crew of awesome comedians, peers, and up-and-comers are excited for the opportunity to share our chaotic, insane show with a whole new chunk of the globe. It's the most spontaneous and improvised show that is out there, and the creative freedom given to us by Netflix to keep the show in its pure form is a comedian's dream, and we can't wait to Netflix and kill. With further information coming out that revealed the first episode will debut on Netflix April 7th and was filmed at the Comedy Mothership. The issue of maintaining creative freedom while moving to Netflix was one of the main concerns of Kill Tony fans, and sounds like a massive win for the show. But finding out the first episode will take place at the Mothership is almost just as big, as it may have been tempting for them to start off with a bang and use the full spectacle of a Kill Tony arena show to impress first-time watchers. But the fans who have been around since the Comedy Store days know all too well that the funniest moments and best episodes happen in 300-seat comedy clubs where it's easiest for the panel to jump in and all the bucket pulls aren't scared to death.
How does it change? Because I haven't seen one of the arena ones. Is it pretty much the same thing, just larger scale?
Larger scale, but I'm so ready and on that it is kind of like I'm like really driving the ship. So I have noticed that it is harder for the guests to kind of pick their spots. Because I have enough time. I'm not used to a bonus 5 seconds of laughter reverberation.
Right.
And that 5 seconds when you're used to having to have your next question or your next joke or whatever.
That lets you come up with more.
Or wherever you want to steer the ship.
How much more intimidating is it for these newbies to do an arena set?
It's impossible. Everybody out of the bucket is bombed on these things.
I honestly can't even imagine how excited all the regulars and potential bucket pulls have to be for April 7th. Kill Tony had already reached the point of drawing comparisons to a modern-day Tonight Show as the #1 kingmaker in comedy, where anyone can explode onto the scene with one good performance in front of the millions watching every week on YouTube. But bringing that concept to the biggest and most respected streaming platform in the entire stand-up world raises these stakes to a whole new level.
First of all, what I need to keep reminding myself about Kill Tony is not to wear clothes that I like, because all my clothes smell like weed, cigarettes, cigar smoke, spit from special needs people, you know, human shit, whatever they're throwing at us. So that's one. But 2, it has genuinely become, you know, not obviously exactly like this, but it's become the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, Tonight Show, you know, of our day, where like you can now, these guys who go, you know, guys, girls, whoever, theys, who go on there and kill for a minute, I mean, it gives them opportunities that they couldn't possibly get from any other type of platform.
It's unclear how many of the Netflix episodes have been recorded yet. Typically, the show is on a 2 to 3 week tape delay, but some Reddit users think the Netflix taping may have happened on March 10th, after a post was made detailing the Kill Tony production staff cracking down on first-timers or non-comedians, which would make total sense and not be weird in the slightest if they're trying to ensure Netflix gets a high-quality episode and features bucket pulls that are actual comics who have committed their life to this craft. But if that is not the case, and it turns out they're cracking down on this for every episode moving forward, that would be pretty lame and take away from the original true random nature of the show. And I don't know any Kill Tony fans who would want that element completely removed. But speaking of the beautiful Kill Tony fan base, there's no need to riot yet because the weekly YouTube format looks to be staying the same for now. When rumors of this deal first started circulating, it was unclear unclear if the whole show would be moved to Netflix and scrubbed off YouTube like what happened when Netflix purchased the Norm Macdonald Show. Especially with Netflix being at the forefront of live stream comedy and Kill Tony claiming the title of #1 live podcast in the world. For a second there after the Tom Brady roast, it seemed like there was a chance we might see Kill Tony leave YouTube completely and live stream from Netflix every single Monday, which looking back now seems pretty unrealistic, and a 3-episode deal makes way more sense. Plus, Netflix would be taking a pretty big risk giving any bucket poll access to millions of live ears.
But we were selling hard tickets, and like Netflix and Live Nation, they're like, what is this Kill Tony thing? And they're so stupid, they don't even realize they're not stupid.
Of course, when it comes to Tony Hinchcliffe news, everybody online is bound to throw in their 2 cents, especially liberal media outlets who have all been freaking out over Kill Tony coming to Netflix, publishing hundreds of seething articles within a few hours of the news going public. And I don't say liberal media outlets in the generic way of like, "Arr, the libs hate comedy." I mean, you can literally pull up a chart of who is reporting on this story, and it is all left-leaning or center networks with nothing from the right. And as you can imagine, all of these headlines are insanely wild with no base of reality. First off, they all try to make it seem like people only know about Kill Tony because of Tony's appearance at the Trump rally, which is absurd. Almost every single headline published about the Netflix deal mentions the word Trump or Puerto Rico, but none of them go on to explain how this show has been building a massive fan base for the last 11 years while never missing an upload and already had 2 million subscribers before Tony stepped foot in MSG. There's other headlines claiming Tony used a slur during the rally, which is simply not true, but the cringiest titles are all the ones trying so hard to be backhanded and sassy by saying things like Netflix rewards Kill Tony podcaster who infamously called Puerto Rico garbage, which is purposely being ignorant for a lot of reasons, but above all, this author claims to be a reporter and clearly did zero research on this story, because the Netflix deal has been in the works long before Tony spoke at the rally, and anyone who follows comedy can tell you the truth is Tony Hinchcliffe and Kill Tony earned a large contract from Netflix with or without the extra attention put on them in November. And this is a provable fact just based on this clip coming out on July 10th, 2024. At this point, you might be thinking, why even get mad at the media? Obviously, everybody knows that these people writing the articles don't actually care if Tony Hinchcliffe has a Netflix special or not. In fact, most of them probably stopped thinking about it the second their article was posted. Because the truth is, the only thing keeping most of these networks alive is click and rage bait. And this news was the perfect opportunity to play Mad Libs, no pun intended, with their favorite words like Trump and racism. It was also probably a tough pill to swallow for a lot of these writers to get real life proof that nobody cares what they have to say, and their work does not matter, nor is it respected, even if they still call themselves the news. Nothing they publish actually affects anything in real life, and that fact continues to get more and more exposed every single time they try to cancel someone like this, and the public responds by making him and his show even bigger. A show that ironically just got another huge wave of free marketing from the mainstream press, who despite claiming to hate Tony, still decided to include the release date and streaming service in all of these blogs so people know where and when to watch.
Unbelievable.
Per usual, there's also the same group of miserable comics who tried to take down Tony for his joke at the Trump rally in November that are now lashing out again because of the Netflix news, which in reality is just farther embarrassing themselves online, because obviously in real life, healthy people don't spend all day thinking and posting about things they hate, while simultaneously drumming up more attention and interest around the topic. These are also the same people who will be ready to post their negative reviews of the first episode on April 7th, hours after it airs, which again is just confusing because they claim to hate the guy, but eventually their own pages are gonna start to look like Kill Tony fan accounts with how often they're talking about him and his show. The truth is, comics who made a choice to follow all the made-up social laws in order to make sure they were never deemed offensive or inappropriate or problematic are now looking around and seeing everyone who stayed the most true to their actual comedic voice not only creating the best work, but also getting the biggest deals. Because because in comedy more than anything, being authentic resonates with the masses a lot more than following all the rules. Basically, the reaction to this news from both the mainstream media and the fringe comedy industry was pretty similar to last year when it was announced that Shane Gillis was going to host SNL for the first time, and every clip or tweet referenced the joke that got him fired. And speaking of Shane Gillis hosting SNL, you can learn more about his most recent appearance by watching the video on the end screen right after these two segments. Guest spots from last week: The Joe Rogan Experience sat down with Ian Carroll, Andrew Schultz, Antonio Brown, Josh Dubin and JD Tomlinson, and Jaquez Valley. Joe Rogan and William Montgomery were guests on the Duncan Trussell Family Hour. Big J. Okerson was on Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast, and also stopped by Burtcast and Tiger Belly with Chappelle Lacey. Adam Rowe was on UB Trippin'. Two Bears One Cave was Bert and Tom, Tom and Bert. Tim Dillon stopped by Stavi's World. Rick Glassman was a guest in Are You Garbage? Rosebud Baker and Rachel Feinstein dropped by We Might Be Drunk. Rachel also made a stop by the Church of What's Happening Now. Nick Mullen experienced the Matan Show. Felipe Esparza stopped by You Know What Dude, and was also on B and Ian with Brendan Sagalow and the Legion of Skanks with Annie Letterman. Mike Cannon, Brendan Sagalow, and Ray DeVito all stopped by the Lewis and Zach Show. Tyler Fisher and Cam Patterson were on Kill Tony. Andrew Schultz came all over your mom's house, and also stopped by Bad Friends and The Solid Show.
During like us trying to get pregnant, it was really hard, and I would come every week to go see him, and I would tell him like it was really tough. And my dad always he would always have a joke, and he would be like, he'd say, he's struggling, you need me to step in, right? And he would say that same joke about fucking my wife every week, because he's got dementia, so he forgets he says the joke. So every week for months, my dad would offer to a baby into my wife, and I just gotta laugh and take it. Every week, the same joke.
Danny McBride visited this past weekend with Theo Von. Whiskey Gingered featured Andrea Gin. Andrea also stopped by The Way Back. Story Wars was a battle between Cypher Sound's Mike Cannon and Sam Roberts. Josh Adam Myers was a guest on Sag Daddy to Pod. Joey McIntyre stopped by Fitzdog Radio. Ari Shafir took a ride on the Harland Highway. Ben Bankus took a trip to Stuff Island. Matthew Broussard sat on the couch with Soder. The Sklar Brothers made it weird with Pete Holmes. Arv and James Moss were the guests on Durag and the Deer Tag. Steve Ran and Zizi went on First Date. Chris Bianco broke bread with Tom Papa. Tom Green did stuff with Howie Mandel. Jim Florentine visited The Honeydew. The Tim Dillon Show, Tuesdays with Stories, Flagrant, History Hyenas, The Regs, Tim Butterly Show, Fatfish, and Rough Week all did not have guests. And we interviewed Tom Segura right here on Joke World. As far as brand new stand-up comedy specials that are either out right now or coming out soon, Andrew Schultz's Life is out on Netflix, Bill Burr Drop Dead Years is out on Hulu, Eliza Schlesinger A Different Animal is up on Prime Video, Ali Sadiq My Two Sons is out on Moment.co, and out on YouTube is Mike Rice Nasty Character and Giulio Gallerati On the Map.
My name is Giulio. Giulio. Nobody ever knows that name. And it's very confusing for people. And once a week, I'll introduce myself to someone, and they actually get upset because they think that I'm fucking my own name up. I'm like, hey, what's up? I'm Giulio. People are like, it's Julio.
There's also a ton of good specials in the works right now that will be coming out soon, and they're all coming to Netflix. Starting on March 18th, Burt Kreischer, Lucky. The next week, Chelsea Handler, The Feeling comes out, followed by Nimish Patel, Instant Karma on April 1st. And Kill Tony's first episode on the streamer will take place on April 7th. And not technically specials, but Josh Johnson and Chris Stefano both uploaded their weekly stand-up sets per usual. And this week, we also got a loaded new stand-up on the spot from Jeremiah Watkins that featured Adam Friedland, Jordan Jensen, Ian Fidance, Brian Holtzman, and Kevin Hart.
Oh, Filipino. More like Philippine, yes. Sorry. Might be the worst joke I've ever told in my entire life.
It's like initiate dad joke Norman. Like hitting on a Filipino.
But other than that, turn on your damn post notifications right now, because the next video we post will be the start of this year's Comedy Podcast March Madness tournament. The March Madness bracket is personally my favorite thing we do on this channel. Massive shout out to everybody who has voted over the past 3 years, and a huge thank you to all the podcasts who have displayed the championship banners in their studios. That is beyond cool and fits with the original vision of the studios all one day looking like college basketball arenas with dozens of old championship banners in the rafters.
It's not all about the ratings. That's not how you win a
Correct.
Joke World bracelet. The reason you want ratings is so
Bracket.
What?
Who'd we beat out?
Last round was Chrissy Chaos.
Oh my God.
Hey, suck it, Christy.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Please let me know in the comments what you think of Kill Tony coming to Netflix. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you feel very medium about it? You gotta have some opinion if you watch this whole video, so let me know in the comments. Also, check the description while you're at it. You can find the link to get some free Joke World stickers sent to your house via the mailman. Shout out to the mailman. Hopefully a lot of people will fill this out and he'll have a very busy day. Or mailwoman. All right, thanks for watching.